The year ahead, 7 Locutions to the world from November 6 to 12, 2014. The first locution from Mary on November 6, the 4 difficulties of the coming year.
The year ahead will be filled with difficulties and dangers. Difficulties will come from events. Dangers will involve human decisions. The difficulties cannot be avoided. They will happen. The dangers will come about from the wrong human responses. I speak now about this year to come for many reasons. I am not appealing to man's curiosity to know future events. I speak to console my children and to give them direction. I speak now of this coming year from a distant perspective. As this year goes on, I will speak more particularly. In this way, your minds are somewhat prepared and can better understand. Let us begin. Many explosive forces lie right beneath the surface of world events. They are difficulties waiting to burst forth. In the coming year, some, but not all, of these difficulties will surface. They will cause many difficulties, and some aspects of human life will be changed forever. More dangerous, however, will be the world's response to these difficulties. People will want to regain what they formerly had. World leaders will feel pressure to find quick solutions when really none exist. I will outline specific areas of these difficulties and decisions. Putin will continue his aggressive strikes to gain lands and to destabilize Europe. The West has no wisdom or capability to encircle him and keep him contained. Muslim terrorists will grow much stronger. The West has been disengaged from the fight and, as the threat grows, will grow even weaker in its resolve. The biggest difficulties lie in the economies which are too bloated and long ago have cut themselves off from reality. All is pretend. Trillions of dollars are just shifted around, a paper network that feeds upon itself. The Ebola crisis will not be solved. Thousands will die. This is the effect of widespread poverty inflicted upon the people by corrupt African governments and worldwide economic policies.
The second locution from Mary on November 7, the downward spiral.
The events will rush in from every side, far beyond the capacity of the world to respond. A cycle will be created, one event feeding the other and leading to the next in a downward spiral. The world will have no firm footing. Anxiety will be everywhere. Man will look to his own strengths and find them greatly wanting. They will then re-evaluate all of their leaders. A sobering process will set in. Into this setting, I will raise up people of integrity, whose hearts seek the good of the people and who walk in truth. A complete shift in thinking will occur, and those who brought about these conditions will be in disgrace. Their foolishness will be unveiled for all to see. But the response to these problems must go far deeper than choosing new leaders. America must return to the religious spirit which it has set aside for so long. There will be important religious leaders who can lead millions back to faith. These events will bring about the time for a great decision, because America will be at the crossroads. Those who choose the path of faith will find comfort and hope, even in the greatest trials. Those who seek secular solutions will experience only despair. Prepare. Prepare. Prepare for this coming year. Do not delay. Make every effort to reclaim and to deepen your religious practices. I will give you surprising success and new helps.
The third locution from Mary on November 8, hope amid the implosion.
As gaping holes open up and the shortages of resources become evident, great fears will grip so many. They will realize that irrevocable changes have taken place which have no solutions. The sinful decisions that have been made for decades, the wasteful spending, the false money supply, and the credit that expanded beyond control have finally hit their limit, an inevitable outcome of the present policies. There will be an implosion. When gigantic waves hit a wall, they turn back upon themselves. Instead of expanding, everything will contract. How far this will happen, no one will know. Only time and the market forces will determine the final outcome. All will be swept up in these financial collapses, from the richest financier to the poorest citizen. That is the nature of an economy. It is a system that embraces all. Why do I speak when there is such an inevitability, when the forces move ahead with no restraint? My goal is the salvation of souls, that all arrive in their heavenly home. Satan will use all of these disasters to cast the world into darkness and despair. I have constantly taught that Satan causes sufferings. He uses sufferings to cast a darkness. He uses the darkness to get souls into despair. He uses despair so people end up in his hands and not in mine. So, I speak to give hope. Where there is hope, there is light. Where there is light, the sufferings are less. When the sufferings are less, people can't find their way to heaven. There is so much more to say. I will continue to speak during this year as the events come closer.
The fourth locution from Mary on November 9, Satan's Endgame.
The gaps continue to widen and the economic structures grow weaker daily. There are also the gigantic costs of waging wars and the destruction of nations and societies. The problems are not limited to one place or to one area of society. Satan's plan has been manifold. He has placed his dynamite everywhere, in the hearts of his chosen leaders like Putin, in the hearts of the Muslim radicals, in the hearts of politicians making self-serving decisions, and in the hearts of all who have been caught up in selfish lifestyles. His dynamite is planted everywhere, in the wars, the killing of the unborn and the total turning away from religious practices which have prepared for his endgame. That is the word that I have held back until now. The endgame. The world is entering the era of Satan's endgame, the goal he has had, not for just 1 century but for 20 centuries, ever since Jesus defeated him on Calvary and the gospel went forth. After that, he suffered many defeats. The word of God spread. Believers were baptized. Satan was renounced. Cultures were formed, especially in the Middle East and the West. Missionaries went forth to Latin America and to Africa. The waters of baptism were putting out the fires of hell. Satan was being cast out. So, he developed a new strategy. He could not put out the light of Jesus' resurrection, but he could cover it over. So, he began, especially with the French Revolution and installing the goddess of reason in a church dedicated to me. Then, he sowed the seeds of hatred, leading to 2 world wars. He brought the world into the atomic age, the electronic age, the worldwide, global economy. All of these were established on poor foundations, easily able to bring about worldwide chaos and destruction. How many times I have already saved the world, as in the Cuban Missile Crisis. Now, will use these little locutions to speak. In the face of all of these sources of destruction, I promise to do all in my power to save the world. However, the time is not just short. Satan has begun the events leading to his endgame strategy. The church must be aware. The Holy Father must awaken to this new reality. More important, you, the reader, must run to me with total hope in your heart. I will save whoever comes to me.
The fifth locution from Mary on November 10, Babylon is fallen.
Walls are built to protect cities and systems. Walls were also built to protect banks and economies. These were the rules which governed the financial markets. These walls have been destroyed, not by God but by man himself by decisions made secretly and unknown to many. Voices were raised in warning but were not heeded. Year after year, the broken walls allowed enemies to enter who consumed the wealth of nations. Yes, the wealth of entire nations has been stolen. These nations are worse than bankrupt. They are flooded in debt. Do not blame God for these problems. Man has violated every law of God, the laws that demand honesty and true accounting. Long ago, you removed your walls. The enemies are not at the gates. They are within your city, too numerous for you to dispel or overcome. These enemies will consume you. You will no longer own your own cities. Others will claim them. America, you have sold yourself into the slavery of debt. You are owned by others who soon will come to claim what is truly theirs. Then, your shame shall be seen. You will be like the fallen Babylon. Merchants will grieve over you. Those who sold you their goods will also despair. You were the richest customer, but now your economy is in shambles. Can I save you? Are there not 10 just men in your midst? I will save, but only those who follow me, the woman clothed with the sun.
The sixth locution from Mary on November 11, Israel and Iran.
Where do all these events lead? I must again speak of Israel, the forgotten nation in the Middle East conflicts. Satan has his eyes on Jerusalem. Jerusalem is his prize. There he was defeated and cast out. God's blood still abides in that city, and it has never lost its place in my heart. The fires that ravage the Middle East are really aimed at Israel and its destruction. Satan has never lost sight of that goal. Other world leaders have set Israel aside and have jeopardized its existence. They have even signed treaties with Iran, which has pledged to destroy Israel. World leaders walk in such darkness that Satan easily plants his steps. They do not grasp what is of true value. So, I must speak. Israel sees itself abandoned. Its enemies are protected. Its friends are absorbed with other goals. It stands alone. Better than any other nation, Israel knows the dangers that imperil its existence. It sees that it cannot wait. Others will not act in its defense, so it will act on its own. It cannot allow the tide to continue to flow in. It cannot allow these events to take their course, because their course is the destruction of Israel. In Israel's eyes, everything is clear. Its enemies are strong and near. Its friends show no interest and are powerless to put out the Middle East fires. So, it must act in its own defense. It cannot allow a nuclear Iran.
The seventh locution from Mary on November 12, the two floods.
Once the walls break down, who can stop the floods? Who can even predict where the waters will go? Do they not take on their own life, set free to flow anywhere? Such will be the flow of events once the walls are pierced, the weak and tottering walls that many know cannot hold back the floods of events. There will be many floods, all converging and aiding one another in their destructive paths. The convergence is deliberate, the design of the evil one who has plotted out this moment for centuries. He believes that his plans are foolproof. He has arranged the people whom he needs as leaders. He has stirred up the hearts of millions who are ready to respond to his signal. He has weakened all the resources that can be used against him. He has led Western nations into financial debt. He has weakened the resolve of millions by their sinful lifestyles. He has slain millions of children in the wombs of their mothers. Is this not a true picture? Who will argue against me? Who will defend the opposite positions? Will not all of these forces continue? Who will reverse the tide? This is my surprise, the promise which flows from the deepest regions of my immaculate heart. To Satan, his plans seem perfect, flawless, and inevitable. But even he knows that the woman is his enemy and that she stands on the sidelines, still not invoked or invited to come full into the battle. This is my promise. As the events begin, and remember there will be a series of events, an opening will be created. Voices will be raised. Why has Rush not been consecrated as Our Lady has asked? Other events, within the Church, will coincide. Finally, the consecration of Russia will take place. A surprising flood will be released. There will then be two floods, good and evil, one destroying and the other saving.